I so move.
All in favor? The next item of business, I'll turn it over, it's the license agreement for the Bowery restaurant. I'll turn it over to council and the town manager.
Mr. Mayor, it's my understanding that the soon-to-be open Bowery restaurant, in part of their construction process, added a sidewalk that connects from the east side of their building to existing sidewalks on town property. I'm certain that no formal permission was given for that. I know it didn't come before the board. Sidewalks in particular are an area of concern for liability purposes for the town, because as you all know, the town gets no governmental immunity for accidents that happen on sidewalks. And so we need to be particularly careful where sidewalks are constructed, not under the town's supervision, and there needs to be some clear demarcation of who's responsible for what. And so this is at least an attempt at an agreement by which the town could give permission for, short of an easement that would be just sort of easement usually is in fee, meaning that it's forever and ever. This is permissive use of that portion of the town property for location of an emergency exit. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about it, but that's mostly what I know of that situation and the purpose of this document.
Okay. Any questions of the board?
So this sidewalk is going to be used only for emergency uses, and the doorway, the entrances, and that the sidewalk is for emergency use only. As far as
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, I talked with the fire marshal on it, and if you've got to have they had to have the emergency exit because they only have the front entrance, with the exception of the area in behind, which would require going through a kitchen area, which that would be undesirable. But if you have an emergency exit, the emergency exit has to be wheelchair capable. And if you just went out onto the grass, it wouldn't be wheelchair capable. So the sidewalk had to be there. I think the issue is they put the sidewalk in and didn't ask permission from the town of Franklin to do so on town property, if I'm correct. So.
Well, to me, it looks like a taking of town property. If that were reversed, we'd be in real trouble here on the board if we take property without some form of compensation. And it looks like that's exactly what happened here, that the property was taken from the town without any authority.
Mr. Mayor, I understand that Brett Murphy is here, who's developing the property.
Sure.
If the town would like to invite him to speak to this.
Sure, absolutely. Know
Okay.
what his reasons are.
So when I first began the process of working on this restaurant, I thought I had taken all the proper precautions and proper steps to get my plans approved by the town of Franklin and by the county. And those plans included that sidewalk and included that emergency egress. And so it was, did not realize that I needed to make a formal request towards the alderman. The exit is purely an emergency exit. It is not our main entrance to the building. And it was required by the county and Jimmy team because we're not allowed to route people through our kitchen. And so after meeting with the parties that are involved to get it approved, I thought I was set. And I would have not have started the project had I known I was not in everybody's good graces. So at this point, I'm just really seeking an agreement between y'all to let me have the sidewalk there. Certainly not trying to impede on anyone's property or the town's property, but just need the sidewalk to be there in order to have my business.
would suggest to you, Mr. Mayor, that I understand that in addition to concerns about use by the public of that particular doorway, and that as not just an emergency exit, but ingress and egress, which obviously that hasn't happened yet because they're getting open. But I understand that there has been at least one incident where the town staff is having trouble accessing the parking lot for their vehicles back here because it was being used as a delivery entrance. So I think that at the very least, I had not considered that particular situation. I had said in here that it would be used as a only in the case of emergency, but I think maybe that ought to be a little more strongly worded. Having said that, I do think that the town's options at this moment are don't agree with anything, consider it a trespass, and instruct me to start some kind of process to have it removed. And that's going to be extensive and going to take a while. And also leave a neighboring use of a property on Main Street without much other option for egress. And whoever occupies that building for commercial use is going to have an emergency exit. So it doesn't matter who it is. That's, if you want to see it used in a productive manner, that's somebody's going to need permission from this town to use that part of the property. Now, whether that's
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
If it,
I'm thinking, if you should, yes, okay. I'm thinking right now that we ought to take it under advisement, at least for a time being, to see kind of where all this stuff washes out.
Okay.
Well, that's going to be my opinion.
Let me just suggest to you, though, that getting it under some sort of an agreement, the other end of that spectrum is give an easement that is in fee simple and is forever and ever and ever.
Absolutely.
You don't know whether the town's use of town property is going to require you to have something else done with that particular part of the town property. So this is the middle option. This says, okay, the town's going to permit you to do that, and it has the advantage of whosoever is using it is going to agree to indemnify the town, take legal responsibility, and insure the town against loss for slip and fall on that particular part of the sidewalk. It'll make clear who's legally responsible for injuries that happen. So if your desire is to take it under advisement, I think that it needs to be revised to some extent anyway to take into account other uses that I hadn't thought about and make it a little more explicit that this is for emergency exit only. But I agree with you. I think that given that we need to revise it and look at it a little more closely anyway, that taking it under advisement for this meeting is a good idea.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, I would like to, before we agree to anything, I'd like to see that area out there cleaned up. Let them finish that project. There's mud out there now, even where the LP gas or the natural gas line was put in. It's kind of a mess out there too, with clods of dirt and stuff laying around. That was all in agreement on that ought to be fixed, and that wasn't. So I'm a little bit concerned about this.
That is in the easement for Tacoma Natural Gas, and they did agree to maintain that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Vic.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that.
I'll call the clerk. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I'd just like to say, as part of getting this all approved through the town, I agreed that I would like to re-landscape that whole area and make it a nice area. It really was kind of a dead zone, I thought, for the town. And I would like to landscape it, have in fact purchased plants and shrubbery and everything to do that over there, and was just instructed to halt all my progress on that site before I did anything. But certainly I'll be cleaning it up and making it very nice. Even though it's an emergency exit for us, it's not our main exit. We'll have a sign on it that says, please use our front door. We do have parking in our back, so people might access y'all's public sidewalk there to the front of our building. But that's why we'll have a sign on the door that says, please go around to use our front entrance. This is an emergency exit only. But we still want it to look nice and be nice on that side of the building. I've just been instructed to halt my progress.
I have a question. If we put this into, whatever you want to call it, postponing, there'll be a month in between. What if something were to happen in that month? Should we have something in place, or it's not important?
One other thing to consider, you do have, when we get a little bit further on, if it's the will of the board, you do have your continuation meeting, February the 16th, or you can wait until your March 2nd meeting. But just something to consider.
And I don't see any reason why by the continuation meeting that the manager's proposing for you that we can't have a more polished up license agreement.
In 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's not going to preclude you from opening or anything, correct, Brent?
Sidewalk's gone, I'm done.
No, we're not going
We
to take it away.
understand that. We want the business to be successful.
Thank you.
Okay, then I guess we'll need a motion, is that right, Counselor, to take it under advisement?
If the board's going to take it under advisement and take no action on
No
it,
action.
we don't need to have any action.
And we will be back.
We need to make it into a meeting.
I will bring you a more finalized version of this in your continuation meeting.
So we'll continue the meeting. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is that right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, yes. Thank you. All right, so let's go around the table. Ms. Henry, do you have any?